Yes, good afternoon, Indra. Are you revising whatever I am teaching you? Or are you looking into those matters? Or after class you just keeping close the book? Indra? Okay, good. Can you able to understand whatever I speak or during the teaching time? Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Simran. So today only two people will come. Rest are all sleeping due to the good weather. Hmm? Or they have forgotten that today is economics class at 12 p.m. Okay, let us start now. I will not wait anymore. I have sent them the request. They have not accepted yet. So those who have came, I am starting the class with them only. So now up till yesterday we have done what is demand curve and how related some concept about demand curve we have done. Now we will, yes, Jia Gupta, good afternoon teacher. Yes, I am Avik sir for you, Jia. Okay, I used to take classes of economics, so you are the new student. So two chapters I have completed in micro and two chapters in stat also I have completed, Jia. So you are little bit late. Okay, no problem. Try to, you have joined in the Google Classroom, I have seen. So try to take down the study materials which I have sent. You can able to see the study material. So you have to read them, or you have to revise little bit faster, or you have to work harder. Okay, so to cope up with the class. Okay, Jia. So concentrate now for today's class. Now up till yesterday we have done the the demand curve, the individual demand curve, market demand curve, schedule, okay, all those things. Today we will concentrate on the matter why a question may come to your mind, student, that this demand curve is downward sloping. Yes, I have told you the reason of the downward sloping of this demand curve, because of the inverse relationship between price and quantity. And what is inverse relationship? When price is rising, demand is falling. When price is falling, demand is rising. So for one thing is falling, another thing is rising, and another thing is falling, and the another thing is rising. For this reason, yes, good afternoon Deepika, concentrate now. For this reason only, the demand curve is downward sloping. I have told you this conceptual idea. I have told you the theoretical portion of this demand curve, but today you will know some formula about it. So okay, so let's see, come to the book, see what it is written here. Slope of the demand curve, this is only known as a slope. The slanting of the demand curve is known as slope. Slope you know very nicely. Slope of a curve is defined as the change in the variable on the y-axis divided by the change in the variable on the x-axis. Means what is the slope? How we will know the slope of the demand curve? What is the formula of the demand curve? If any change in the y-axis is divided by any change in the x-axis, from there we can able to get the slope of any demand curve or any curve. So the slope of the demand curve equals the change in price divided by the change in quantity. Therefore, slope of the demand curve is equals to change in price by change in quantity. And this change is denoted by del. This triangle, you can see, student, triangle. This triangle is nothing but the change. Change is written in here CHANGE. It is written in theoretical manner, and here in mathematical expression change is always denoted by a triangle. So change in price by change in quantity is your slope. Now if I'll tell you one example, when when the apple, per apple, I'm telling you an example, simple example, per apple costing 5 rupees. At the time of 5 rupees, the price of apple, when it was 5 rupees, you are buying how much? 2 apples. Remember, listen carefully. For when the price of apple was 5 rupees per apple, you are purchasing 2 apple. Okay. Suddenly, so I can write what is the slope when the price of apple is 5. So 5 by 2 means for 5 rupees of apple you are buying how much? 2 apple. So this will come, the fraction will come something like 2 point something, it will come 2.5, I think so. Okay. Now there is a change when the price of apple has fallen down from 5 to 4. So how much? Previously it was 5, now it was 4. By previously at 5 rupees of apple, I was purchasing 2 apple. Now for that 5 rupees of apple, I am purchasing how much? 3 apple. So 2 minus 3 equals to 1 by, I think so 1 only will come, but minus will be here. So this is the change. Previously it was 2.5, now it has changed to -1. This is a small mathematical, you will get a good mathematical expression later on. Due to the inverse relationship between price and demand, the demand curve slope downwards. So slope is negative. So because for the inverse relationship, my slope of the demand curve is downward, and since it is downward, it is negative. Okay. Slope of the demand curve measures the flatness or steepness of the demand curve. So it is based on the absolute change in the price and quantity. So you can see sometime the demand curve may be this one, sometime maybe this one, sometime maybe this one, sometime maybe this one. They may change. Since you have seen in market, you must see some demand curve is this type, some demand curve is little bit more slanting, some demand curve is more flatter. Okay, some demand curve is more steeper. It may be possible. Now, why there is a changes on this demand curve? Because for the slope. Okay, this change in the demand curve is caused because for the slope. Okay, shape of the change in the shape of the demand curve is caused because for the slope. Okay, now coming back to it, we will show it with the example. Okay, see here it is done, the example is done. In the given diagram, when price falls from rupees 8 to 4, means previously it was 8 rupees, now it has fallen down to 8 to, it has fallen down to 4. Then quantity demanded increases from 2 to 4 units. Means previously at 8 rupees you are purchasing 2 apple. Now at 4 rupees you are purchasing 4 apple. In such a case, the slope of demand curve will be del P by del Q, and the change in price, previous it was 8 rupees, now it was 4 rupees. So see student how it has written. What is the formula of del P? They have done. Del P means P1 minus P. Del P means P1 minus P, and P1 is the new price. Okay, and P is your original or previous price. So student, here P1 new price from 8 to 4 it has gone. So 4 is my now new price. It has reduced, and what is the new price now? 4. So 4 minus previous price was how much? 8. So 4 minus 8. Same thing for del Q. New quantity minus previous quantity. Q1 is the new quantity and Q is your previous quantity. So new quantity is how much? 4, and previous quantity is how much? 2. So how much it has came? Minus 4 by 2. So minus 2. So the slope of the demand curve has came minus 2. Keep this concept very much clear, students, what I have written here, because with the help of this concept you will be doing at later the sums. So the slope of this demand curve you have completed. This much is all about the slope of the demand curve. Now we will come to the law of demand curve. Law means why the demand curve is downward. Okay. So see what law this demand curve tells about. In our daily life, it is normally observed that decrease in price of commodity leads to increase in its demand. Obvious, I am repeating every time this sentence. In daily life, decrease will, and this is only law of demand. Okay, so law of demand states the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, keeping other factors constant. Okay, now listen very carefully. I have told you, student, there are many factors. Factors mean determinants. What are the determinants? Price of a given quantity, price of related goods, income of consumer, taste and preference, expectation in future price. All these are factors. For all these factors, demand may change, but if every factor start changing, I cannot able to draw the demand curve, because whom I will look into? If I look into price, I will see that the price of related good is also changing. If I look into income, I will see that the taste and preference also hampering the demand curve. If I look into price of related good and I am trying to draw the demand curve, I am seeing on the other hand the price of expectation of future prices changing. So I have to keep constant some factors, and one by one we will see what effect they are having, and one by one we will see what effect they are having on demand curve. What I have told, and one by one I will take them up and I will see what effect they are having on demand curve. For example, if I going to take the price, I will see first what is the relation between price and demand. All the other factors, taste and preference, income of consumer, future expectation of price, all these factors, I will think that they are constant. And this sentence I am dictating every time, no, keeping other factors constant. This sentence is known as ceteris paribus. This keeping other factors constant means ceteris paribus. Okay, by keeping all other factors constant, I will see only what the demand curve is, how the demand curve is changing due to the change in price. This law is also known as first law of purchase. Very, very important. Keep in mind, sometime it may not be asked that what is, explain briefly the law of demand, the concept of law of demand. In place of this question, it may come, explain the concept or discuss the concept briefly of first law of purchase. So you have to think that law of demand only the question is asking. Now I have told you from the first chapter only, student, before drawing any curve, you have to assume something. For example, I have assumed that all other factors will remain constant. I will see only how the demand is changing due to price. Same thing. Assumptions are there. Assumption means we have to believe. We have to think that these things are constant. These things will not change. For to draw this diagram. See this law of demand, what assumption it is having. While stating the law of demand, we use the phrase keeping other factors constant or ceteris paribus. This phrase is used to cover the following assumptions on which the law is based. So first assumption, price of substitute goods do not change. Price of complementary goods remain constant, and substitute and complementary is both are related goods. No, you have done these two, 1 and 2 are related good, and you have done in determinants of individual demand curve, where you have done, see where it is, yes, price of related goods, substitute good and complementary good. So this price of related good you are keeping constant in the law when you are drawing the law of demand. Second, income of the consumer remains same. I have told you, constant, it's same. Income cannot be zero, but it's same, it is not changing. But in real life income is same, students? No, every year it change, but we have assumed income is not changing. There is no expectation of change in price in future. Same thing I have told. Taste and preference of the consumer remains the same. So all the factors are, I am assuming that they are not changing. Only the price of a given good, price of that particular good is changing. And we will see how the demand changes due to the change in the price of its own good. Now we are coming to the diagram. Okay, so what it is telling? More and more units of commodity are demanded when price of commodity falls. So same thing I am dictating every time. The more, see, if the price falls from 5 to 4, the demand curve is falling. If the price comes to 4 to 2, the demand curve is more falling. And with the fall in price, it leads to the increase in the quantity time to time. Then only this inverse relationship of demand holds. See, at 5 rupees, I am demanding how much, student? 1 apple only, for example. At 4 rupees, when the price fall, I am demanding how much? 2 apple. Again the price falls from 4 to 3, I am demanding how much? 3 apple. Again when it is 2, I am demanding how much? 4 apple. When it's 1 rupee, I am demanding 5 apple. So as the price falls, quantity of demand rises, and vice versa. As the demand price rises, when it will be opposite, when it will rise, the demand curve will move upward, and this demand of apple will also slowly reduce. So these are all this is the total law of demand. Now students, we will come to some short okay, points or definitions. Here you will see substitution effect. Here you will see substitution effect. Now what is this substitution effect? This substitution effect and income effect, student, sometimes it comes for 1 mark, for 3 marks. Okay, so let us see the concept of this substitution effect, what it is telling. Substitution effect refers to substituting one commodity in place of other when it becomes relatively cheaper. Substitution in simple language also means it is telling about something of substitute good. For example, if there is tea and coffee, both the drinks you like, tea also you like, coffee also you like. Now previously you were buying more of tea, less of coffee. Suddenly you have seen that the price of coffee is decreasing time to time. Then the money which you are investing previously in tea you will now invest in coffee. Means you are shifting your consumption from tea to coffee. You are substituting coffee in place of tea. So this is the substitution effect. And when substitution occurs, student, when one good become cheaper relative to the other. When one good become cheaper relative to the other. Now what is written here? When price of the given commodity falls, it becomes relatively cheaper as compared to its substitute, assuming no change in price of the substitute. As a result, demand for the given commodity will rise. Okay, so what it's telling? I have told you, student, that substitution effect. When price of tea rises, demand for coffee rises. Listen this sentence very nicely. When price of tea rises, demand for coffee rises. Means what? When the price of tea rises, you will reduce the demand for tea and you will rise the demand for coffee. So you can see in substitution effect, price of tea is rising and demand for coffee is rising. Both are rising. So for that reason only the demand curve is rising. Demand curve for a given commodity rises. Okay, we will in detail we will come to it later when we will come to the graph situation. You will see, keep this concept only clear in your mind. For example, if price of given commodity, say Pepsi, falls, price of Pepsi has fallen with no change in price of its substitute, say Coke. Means Pepsi and Coke are the substitute good. Means in place of one another you can use. You can either consume Pepsi, you can either consume Coke. From both of these two drinks you will get the same level of satisfaction. More or less same level of satisfaction. Now price of Pepsi has only fallen and price of Coke has not changed. Price of Coke was same as it was previous, but price of Pepsi has slightly fallen now. Then Pepsi will become relatively cheaper than the Coke and will be substituted for Coke. That is, demand for Pepsi will rise. What happens? Price of Pepsi has fallen in place of Coke and Coke price is same. So what happens? The demand for Pepsi rises because Pepsi become now relatively cheaper in place of Coke. Same thing for tea and coffee. If the price of tea falls, coffee's price is same which was previous. For example, previously it was 10 rupees of tea and 10 rupees of coffee. Both are equal for assumption. Suddenly coffee is same at 10 rupees. But tea's price has fallen from 10 to 8. Then what you will do? If you are consuming some amount of coffee previously, you will stop that consumption and you will now consume tea. So due to the fall in the price of tea, what happens? The demand of coffee has fallen and the demand of tea has rises up. This is the substitution effect. Now what is the income effect, student? Income effect refers, income effect you can able to understand, since it is telling income effect means it is something with income. This situation will deal with income now. So what is it dealing with? Let's see. Income effect refers to effect on demand when real income of the consumer changes due to change in price of the given commodity. You have came up with a new thing, real income. What is this real income now? Let's see. When price of the given commodity falls, it increases the purchasing power of the consumer. What it's telling, student? When price of the commodity falls, okay, for example, price of tea has fallen, you can see. So it will increase the purchasing power of the people. Previously at 10 rupees, people were buying 5 packets. At 10 rupees, people were buying 2 packets of tea. Now it has fallen to 10 to 4. So what happened? The people can buy more amount of tea if they want. Okay, so as the price of the good falls, people gets more money in their hand. People will left over with more money in their hand. Then they can buy more of that good. I have came up with 10 rupees. It is not so much easy. Let's see the as an example what this book has given. As a result, he can purchase more of the given commodity with the same money income. For example, suppose Isha buys 4 chocolates at the rate of 10 each. Means 4 chocolate, 10 rupees. So each costing 10 rupees means 40 rupees she will invest. With her pocket money, rupees 40 means 40 rupees he has got in her pocket, and with that 40 rupees she can able to buy 4 chocolates, and per chocolate is costing 10 rupees. So at 40 rupees she can buy 4 chocolates. If price of chocolate falls to rupees 8 each, then with the same money income, Isha can buy 5 chocolates due to an increase in her real income. So see, student, when she was her pocket money in her pocket was 40 rupees. At 40 rupees, when per chocolate costing 10 rupees, she was buying 4 chocolates. 40 rupees she has invested. When same 40 rupees she was having in her pocket, she can buy those same chocolates now 5, not 4. Why? Because price of the chocolate has fallen down from 10 to 8. So she can buy more. Previously she was buying 4 chocolates. Now she is buying 5 chocolates. So she has increased her consumption. Not because her money income has increased. 40 rupees is same in her pocket. It has not changed. But since the price of that commodity has changed, for that reason only she has got more money left over in her hand. With that leftover money, she can buy 1 more extra unit of chocolate. Okay, this is the income effect. Money income has not changed. Her pocket money has not changed. But since the price of that good has changed, for that reason only the consumption or the purchasing power of Isha has changed. So this is the substitution effect. This is the income effect. Okay, now we will come to tomorrow. We will do some new thing, that is your movement in the demand curve, contraction in demand curve. We will do some new things tomorrow. Okay, movement along the demand curve, we will be doing this topic, and it's very much interesting. It requires some more time, so for this we will be doing it tomorrow. For today, this much is very much okay. I'll be sending you some study material to you. You have to thoroughly go through it. Whatever I have taught, I will send it to you. Read those things. As the bookish language is very much simple, you can able to understand easily. What you have to do, you have to read it thoroughly. Okay, so for today everyone, goodbye. I am coming tomorrow once again to explain you the movement. Okay, so goodbye everyone, and once again good afternoon to everyone.